what makes us human, why people heal. Yeah, I actually think it's a matter of your awareness.
That you saw miracles or you saw people getting better depending on
everything is energy. Everything is energy and consciousness, and quantum physics has recognized that now. We know
unique thing that makes us who we are, and also a very recognized school in this realms of healing, holistic healing. This is a gift, I think, for me and for those that watch these topics of a holistic view of humanness. Hello, everybody. You're here with Claro Beauty with your host, Claudia Lara. Thank you very much for watching and tuning in. So today I'm very excited because it's the first interview that I'm going to do about this series. This series is about beauty inside and out. So today I'm very excited because as a beginning, a person that I admire so much, she was a teacher of mine over 10 years ago, but she's a pioneer. She's been involved with most of the different teachings that have been available since 1972. So I'm very excited to introduce you to this guest. Her name is Sherry Pae. And the beauty of this is to make known those people that have been studying so much and have so much wisdom to share, and is not being documented anywhere because they do it in the field, right? They do it one-on-one, in groups, but never in media or in books. So I just thought of starting this and sharing it with you, and let's see what happens. Nothing is planned. I have questions for her, and I'm sure she'll have important things to share. I mean, important, yes, she's wise. And so if you were looking forward to seeing this, please keep on watching. Now, I'm recording this before she arrives, so we'll see what happens. I'm sure I'll introduce more of her while I see her, so she knows that I've been saying these things. And so, yeah, let's tune in. Hi!
Hello, hi.
Oh my God, welcome.
Nice to be here with you.
So this is a dream come true, being able to meet with you and record your wisdom. This is like so exciting for me.
Oh, good. Oh, good. That's I'm open. Whatever I have to offer, I'm happy to share. That's for sure.
Well, I recorded a little preview before you got here, just so if somebody sees the video, a little bit before you came. But I do want to introduce a little bit of your work to people that will be watching this video, and why we are here together, or why I invited you to come. Yes, a dream come true. And so the reason I admire you so much and the reason I'm so excited is because I believe you're one of the pioneers of this holistic kind of work. For what I read in your bio, and we'll mention a little bit, it's kind of, you started in 1972. Which is very interesting because that was the day I was born. So
that's funny. Wow.
It could be coincidence. But you started as a nurse, I think a critical care nurse. So I guess from the beginning you had an inclination to service for humankind and health, and close to illness, right? Healing. And then I know a little bit of your progress, but I do know you were working with Barbara Brennan, which was a physicist that started a school, and maybe some don't know, or maybe do know, but you were a big part of writing the curriculum and being part of the curriculum. And so that's a big deal because that was many years of your life, and also a very recognized school in this realms of healing. holistic healing. But I do know that you've been part of many others, Continuum and Cranium therapy, and I'm sure you can talk to us a little bit of more, because you will know more. But I just want for people to know that you've been at this most of your life, most of your professional life.
Yes, true.
And that's why this is a gift, I think, for me and for those that watch this conversation. And so I don't know, because I just wanted to feel a little bit that this is, a professional and knowledgeable of all these topics, of a holistic view of humanness. And so here it is, Sherry Pae.
Yeah, it's so sweet. Thank you so much. Yeah, I have been at this a long time. Yeah, over 50 years, really. Yeah.
You look so young. I know. I don't know if you want to say your age, but I know it's up there.
Oh, yeah, I'm over 70. Yeah, for sure.
And so that's a testament. You look great, for sure.
Thank you.
And you're also a mother and a grandmother and a woman and a wife and a friend, and all of those things that makes us woman. So let's begin with one question. Since I kind of summarize a little bit, how do you see it? Your background, how it's all come together, and and how do you see the progress from where you started to now? Whatever comes. I mean, there's
well, actually, I've been thinking about that a lot lately, and how, I started I've always wanted to be in service somehow. As a child, I thought I wanted to go live with Albert Schweitzer in Africa and help take care of people in Africa. I wanted to be a missionary. I wanted to be a plastic surgeon to help people that were deformed, that were burned. So I've always had that kind of an interest. And going into the field of nursing, which I'm so glad I did, because I just had so many opportunities there and learned so much about what makes us human, why people heal, disease, and what is part of our humanity, and what's beyond the physical as part of our humanity, and our interconnectedness and all of that. So I went from nursing and experiencing miracles there, actually, that would happen, which led me to go, I wonder what this is about. I wonder why we do all the same things to the same individuals that have the same thing wrong. And this person heals and this person doesn't. And it became very evident early on that the person's relationships with themselves, with their own sense of spirituality, with other people, had everything to do with whether or not people healed and how they healed. And it taught me also how to stay really present with people in the face of life, death, always being on that edge. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot in my 26 years of nursing, and it kept taking me beyond to what was next. And so I got involved with Healing Touch, which a Therapeutic Touch actually was first, which Dolores Krieger and some other nurses at NYU started playing with the effect of touch on red blood cells, relaxation response in the body. And I explored that, got very much interested and introduced to that world. From there into craniosacral work, which is a more, it combines both energy work and you're really connected to the physicality of the body, which I have always have a deep reverence for the body and how it operates and what it is and what mysteries are there. And then from craniosacral work into homeopathy, and I actually had a healing center that I created in 1990, where we had many different practitioners, therapists, homeopaths, acupuncturists, myself that did energy work. So a lot of different kinds of practitioners in the same place. And it was right on the edge of when holistic healing and complementary medicine was emerging in the world.
Wow, I didn't know that. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I've always been kind of on the edge of things and looking for what's next. And I actually got interested in energy work because I was a craniosacral therapist and a nurse at the same time, still working in intensive care, but I would do some craniosacral work and energy work. And during the craniosacral work, my capacity to see beyond the physical seeing, my other senses started opening up, high sense perceptions, my ability to feel and to see things from, I would say, other life experiences of the person just opened up quite suddenly.
So let me back up a little bit. What would you consider energy healing? You mentioned you started getting into the energy part of it from the physical.
Sure.
So what do you see is the difference, or how would you describe energy, in the healing world?
Yeah, I actually think it's a matter of your awareness and your view. Because I didn't know it at the time that I was a nurse. I entered in my 20s. I wasn't aware. But I know that many of the things happened there were happening because of an energetic phenomena with me and the other person.
Okay, so I'm sorry to interrupt,
yeah,
but
no, go ahead.
So there's this, because you mentioned that you saw miracles, or you saw people getting better depending on the relationships they had with themselves and with others. And so right now you're mentioning the energy that you felt or were aware between. So we're in this in-between space, right? Of relational space. So would you say it's the relationship or is the energy, or how do you start?
Both. They can't really be separated. We are constantly, everything is energy.
Okay.
Everything is energy and consciousness. And quantum physics has recognized that now. We know that. And that's why it was so wonderful then to get to meet Barbara later, because she was a physicist and understood the world of energy. So they're both that in the interactions, that whatever is happening in the world, we are constantly being influenced by and influencing not only each other, but everything around us. Your flowers are influencing your plants, people, animals, everything. We are an energetic reality that does then have different frequencies. So if the energy gets denser and denser or slower and slower, there's more of a form that gets congealed. So
go
ahead. No, go ahead.
So can you give us an example of a miracle that happened that you will point into? It was the energy or the relationships around, or just something if it comes to mind. So
absolutely, the one that got me to go, whoa, something else is happening here. The very first one, I was very young. I was well, there's two things that come to mind, but I'll tell you the most wow. I was taking care of a young woman who had been shot in the neck. She was paralyzed. The doctor said it was kind of amazing that she was still alive. She was on a ventilator it was breathing for her. And they said she probably would never walk again, and probably never be able to come off the ventilator. I was taking care of her, as I had often on at different times. We would rotate which patients we got to take care of, but I was taking care of her. And she's someone who had just the most exquisite relationship with her family, her husband and her parents. They were really with her in a way that was a kind of palpable love that you could really feel. They had a very deep, deep connection. And she had a very deep spiritual connection. They did as a family. They had faith and belief in each other and trust in each other and in life itself. And here she was shot. And I was with her one day giving her a bath, and we were trying to train her muscles to react by her will some of the ways. And you do that, you put things in the person's diaphragm and they focus and concentrate, and it helps to see if they can breathe, get the muscle to react. And her muscles were learning to do that, actually. So she could be off of the ventilator for little bits of time, 20 minutes maybe. But then, the muscle, and she would get exhausted, she'd have to go back on. So she definitely couldn't do it when she was sleeping. So I was bathing her, and I was aware when I was bathing her of my connection to her, and there was a feeling of love and trust and appreciation. And that's about all I was aware of. And I remember very vividly, I was at her neck and just kind of gently, what I thought was massaging her neck at the time. I had no intention to heal or do anything like that. I was just very present with her. And she fell asleep. And I thought, oh, I'm going to have to put her back on the ventilator. Well, she continued to breathe. And she continued to breathe to the point where she never had to go back on the ventilator again. So that one so touches me. And she, in fact, walked to my house after she got out of the hospital and rehab, and walked with braces to come show me and my husband at the time what she had accomplished. So that was the one that said, whoa, we don't know what's really possible. We don't really know what a human being is capable of, particularly when it's in relationship with life and in a particular way, which is one that has to be open.
So you felt something happen while you were bathing her. You felt something click or unclick, or something was aware.
Well, what I felt at the time, going back there and remembering, what I felt was actually simply I would say, a sense of everything was very peaceful and let go, and everything was fine. I didn't know anything about, really, at that time, I didn't know anything about healing touch or energy. I didn't have any teaching about that or awareness about that. But it's the one that really got me to go, whoa, what's going on here? Because I'm also kind of a scientist. I like physiology and biochemistry and all those kinds of things. So I want to see, well, there's something happened there that made that happen.
It's kind of like phenomenon, right? And now you're like, how can I recreate this phenomenon? What was in place? But it's very interesting. Yes, especially that you were seeing different patients. Why did it happen to her, even though percentage-wise was against her ad? Why there's a percentage that yes and a percentage that doesn't, right? So that's amazing. So continuing, so things like that is what introduced you to start obviously questioning and learning more about what's going on around the person, right? And then moving forward, when did you decide to move from the physical nursing to more of a energy, or what is this that is happening around each of the patients? What was it that transitioned and then said, okay, I'm going to move more towards?
it was a gradual process for me. I mean, I had other experiences after that when I started doing therapeutic touch, and um, my meditation practice was pretty strong at the time also. So I felt very aligned and centered in myself. And when I opened, after I opened the healing practice, I never advertised, and I had so many clients coming to me that I was working 12-hour shifts as an intensive care nurse, and seeing clients during the other times during the day, during the week. And I knew I had to make a choice. I just couldn't keep going like that. And when I actually was studying Qigong and Tai Chi, and um, I knew about Qigong masters through learning about Qigong and me being interested in the practice, that there were Qigong masters in China who knew how to direct their energy to heal. Because I didn't know that there was anybody who was that masterful that you could actually be taught. I didn't know anything about Barbara Brennan. So I actually applied to go to a college in China, and got accepted and was going to go, when a friend of mine who was in the healing center with me said, "Oh, no, please just go check out this woman first. Barbara Brennan, did you ever hear of her?" I said, "No." She said, "Well, she's a physicist and a healer. And, maybe then going all the way to China, you could go study with her." So I went to an introductory workshop, and it was clearly the place for me to be. So that ended my
Love at
China trip.
first
And
sight.
yeah, so I ended up there, and yeah, was there for quite a long time.
So at this point, there was no doubt in your mind that there was something on the healing touch. I like that name, right? It's a touch of healing, and we could say a touch of love, or
Mm.
because at this point we don't know what
Mm-hmm.
exactly happens. We just know something happens. It always refers me like a mother touching a baby after they fall, and they say, here's love, is something. Um,
Mm.
so, and I'm sure you had a lot of experiences of what was happening, right? On all these people that wanted to see you. So you knew this, what we say, alternative healing, alternative because
Right.
it's not the traditional, not because it's
Right.
less than, it's just different. And you mentioned some
Right.
uh, from the other side of the world that also they do that type of getting well or maintaining
Yeah.
health, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so we move into now your transition. Now you're at Barbara Brennan, and you become a teacher, or you start developing the program, or just bouncing things back and forth. And where do you put psychology or emotions or mind? Because we jump from the physical to the maybe untangible energy, relational. So does it matter, the emotions, the mental, or how does
Sure.
that?
Sure. It all matters. It all matters. Um, I think that's also part of the healing that happened for that young woman, because her mental and emotional state was also one that, it's not that she didn't go through times of feeling down or depressed, but her mental state was one that she was pretty positive, and so was her family. Um, so that I know influenced her availability, is what I would say, to what happened for her. I think that makes a huge difference. Um, so what happened at the Barbara Brennan School, from that leap from physical to energetic, was, how should I say this? Barbara just became very interested because of my reverence for the physical world and all my experience there. Um, she took an interest in that, and she wanted that as part of her school, to have people that are in the realm of energy healing, to not displace the physical reality of us, because it's beautiful.
The
And
anatomy
it's
and
a vessel.
physical, the anatomy and physical of the human body, right?
Yeah, yeah. So she was interested in having us have a view of the individual that included all our dimensions of our being, including the physical, not just looking at the energy field and the auric field, but also looking at and being with our physicality and how they influence each other, because they do. I mean, there's no separation there.
So
The worldview has
I want to go back a little bit about energy because I study in Barbara Brennan for many years and
mm,
other so I have a clearer
yeah,
sense of what
yeah.
energy healing or any we toss in that word here, but I think for most people it's still difficult to understand what do we mean by energy healing or energy in the realm of doing anything with it, because we aware that it's around, everything is energy, that's been established, vibration, and some people still think it's a believe or not believe, when in fact now it's a known, it's
It's a
scientifically
known.
known.
Yes, yes.
But the idea that anybody can influence it knowingly or can be a part of it. So I still think there is, so energies, we can't see it most of the time unless it's a
Right.
tornado. Then we can see the
Yes.
energy going,
Yeah. Yeah.
or a
Yeah.
wave of
Good
ocean
point.
that came
Yeah.
from the wind, so
Yeah.
in extremes we're able to see, yeah, something is
Yeah.
moving. But when we talk about humanness, like in between you and I, in between your brother and sister, can you tell me what is energy in that way? Not energy as that's what makes us move, the combustion. But what is it in the space that we can't see that we refer as, yeah, you can do something with the energy, what?
Well, it actually is the same thing as what you say is the essence of a tornado. It's simply that we're not taught. We're not taught from the time we're small children to just be open to what's really there. I mean, I remember my granddaughter, from the time she could talk, used to look at me and call me Blue Nanny. And people would say to her, why do you call her Blue Nanny? And she goes, well, because she's blue. Like, can't you see that? That she was seeing energy around me. And we used to play games with it. Like I would, you can feel the color red. And color is vibration of light. You can
Oh,
feel it.
I wake up, my closet is organized by colors. And I wake up and I'm like, what color do I feel like wearing today? I mean, that's
Yeah.
primary for me.
Yeah. You can feel it when you walk into a room. I mean, most people would agree. You can feel like if somebody's really mad at you without them saying a word. That's the vibration that's between you. You can feel if somebody's really open and loving without them saying anything to you. You wouldn't even have to look at them. You can, so people, it's actually, there's some aspects of it we're so accustomed to, we just don't pay any attention to. And
It's like
then yeah,
like
and,
attraction, right? You like somebody
yeah,
and you're like, oh, I like her. Why? She didn't say anything. I
yeah,
don't know. I just like her.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like something,
yeah,
something.
yeah. That's the energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So moving forward, now we passed 50 years.
Yes.
50 years
Very
forward.
quickly.
um, well, I did have a question, but I don't know if we want to get very involved in it, because there's a question of where are you now and what are you doing? There's a question of, I was very interested in connective tissue. In this a physical part of our
Yeah.
bodies that I was, and so I was debating if to introduce it here or not. But just briefly, now I'm just briefly. because I see the connection with what we're talking about, relationships, what
Yeah,
is in between, and then the connective tissue in the body, which surrounds the organs, and it is really part
yeah.
of every part of our body. So I just
I
slightly.
think that's a great question, because one of the things that I did for Barbara and the Barbara Brennan School was, in order for us to become a college, we had to have more science courses. So I created 4 different years for each one of the 4 years of the school. I created an anatomy and physiology course that would go along with the curriculum. And so to be able to look at our physicality and different aspects of our physicality, and including trauma and what happens in surgery, and then the normal anatomy and physiology of the body, and look at all that and be with it from the perspective that we're also including that it's energy. And so, in talking about the connective tissue, that's like one of my favorites, because that actually was one of my first entrances into energy healing.
Oh, that's great. So I want to hear all of that. So
Yeah.
where
Well,
do we begin? Because most people will not know what connective tissue is. I did not know the
yeah.
specifics. So I'm.
Yeah. Connective tissue is that tissue that does what it says. It connects, and surrounds every organ in the body. The fascia itself, um, which is a major communication network for the whole body. For the whole body, it goes through everything simultaneously. Any message that we receive from the outside world, the connective tissue receives that information and transports it immediately. One of the reasons why is because it, of course, it surrounds the brain, which is kind of a relay station, the heart, the spinal cord. A lot of the nerves are covered with it, all the organs of the body. And it really does, besides kind of, I want to say embracing, gently embracing and wrapping it all and holding us together, the integrity of the system. And when I say integrity, I mean the wholeness of the system. It keeps the wholeness of the system intact. So when you, in connecting with that tissue, you can experience the wholeness of the entire system and communicate it instantaneously, and what's happening in the body, send signals instantaneously. So the whole body kind of knows what's going on.
It fascinates me, that idea, because it has to do with communication. It
Yes.
communicates,
Yeah.
balances. It kind of reminds the body that is one, right? We have to
Yes.
work together.
Exactly. Exactly.
But the reason it fascinates me is the correlation, and I think this is spoken of the micro and the macro, right? That what
Yeah.
happens in one happens in all. And
Yeah.
what's happening today in our culture, in our world, right? Communications is so important, from the media, the internet, um, and each other. We're gonna become whole? How we're gonna
Yeah.
become all in one, so we can survive as a species or as a planet. I mean, I just want to mention that, even though I want to keep it in the individual, but I want to, whoever is here with us, to understand the significance and the
Yeah.
coincidence. I mean, I'm like, is it coincidence? But this is why I wanted to bring this topic arise. And one more thing, I've heard there was a scientist. I think her name was Caddis. I don't know if you know Moleculars of Emotion. I remember reading
Oh,
that book
Candace Pert.
back. Caddis Perk, which I was surprised that she passed. I didn't know this, but
Mm.
she spoke something about, because she's a lab science. She
Yeah.
discovered, well, um, that emotions are part of what creates that kind of automatic cohesiveness or communication throughout the body. So the reason I bring it up is because this was scientifically discovered. And so how do you think this connective tissue is all emotional? I mean, it seems to me fluid, or is it still, physical and
Well, a couple, yeah, great questions. There's a couple of things here. First of all, I love your reference to the macro and the micro here. Because in another way, besides the internet, which, is certainly part of what human beings have created out of this, in the earth, there's this whole instant communication network called the mycelium. It's the place where all the roots grow and connect and communicate with each other. It very much reminds me of that when you spoke, as well as the net of Indra, which is a web that's referred to in Hindu philosophy, or how we're all interconnected in this huge web. They even refer to it as a web where everything is instantaneously communicated and reflective from one aspect to another. So it's just kind of
it immediately took me. So if that's the case, and we all connected, and we all, because it brought me to the movie Avatar, and the trees.
Yeah, the tree.
But no, in this seriousness, if we all connected and there's this instant communication and wholeness, why is it that we feel so disconnected, or that or that we're speaking different languages, or that we are not in the same page? I mean, how would you?
Well, because it has to do where we've been conditioned and where we've been in terms of how our consciousness has been evolving. Because besides being energy, there's also consciousness. Rocks and minerals and things like that have a different. There's energy there, but it's very different than the consciousness of a human being. There's awareness, and as human beings, we have had this capacity to be self-aware and then to shift our awareness. We learned that. I don't think that was there initially when we became self-aware, but we've learned how to direct and focus our awareness. And
so let's just I want to point out there's energy and there's consciousness, and consciousness in Spanish is con conocimiento, with knowledge. So in consciousness is with awareness, right? Like a
yes.
toddler is aware of itself, but not maybe everybody else. As you grow, you understand there's a house next to you and things of that nature.
Exactly.
So awareness is that capacity to see every time there's more that what you're used to just perceiving and seeing and believing, really.
Yes.
Okay. And so consciousness, like you mentioned, in a rock, in a stone, it has the vibration of a stone, maybe minimum or maybe solid, right? But the rock perhaps is not aware, conscious.
Correct.
That they're part of the mountain and a bigger scheme. So I interrupted you, and I probably when I watch this, I'm going to be like, oh no, what was she going to say? But sometimes, we might be used to some words, and perhaps people that are watching are like, where is that word takes me?
Yeah, that's a very good point. Thank you. There's so what was I going to mention about that? But in respect to the,
we were talking about the disconnection, and you were saying that it's part of the evolution and the awareness that each individual, I guess, or you
actually, absolutely, and part of that developmental process of awareness, it does have a physical relationship, like you said. Babies have a different awareness than a 40-year-old. hopefully. I mean,
Some,
there's
some.
yeah. So, but as the physicality changes, I mean, our nervous systems in a human being are not developed till you're 9 years old. So there's a developmental physical thing that's happening along with there is a development in awareness. So the energy and the consciousness changes. And emotions are actually biochemical. There's a biochemical reaction that's happening when we experience emotions. So it's not simply, oh, I'm thinking about so and so, and all of a sudden I become happy. Thoughts can certainly influence emotions, but you can experience joy without thinking about something that doesn't have to have a cause. They are biochemical reactions.
And you think that
So,
creates health or illness?
oh, it certainly is a part of it. Absolutely, it's a part of it. It's not the only thing because we are so complex. I mean, we live in a lot of toxicity. We've created a lot of things here as human beings that um, our bodies have not been able to quite catch up with yet to evolve to be able to handle, like all the plastics, the microplastics, chemicals that are in the air. I mean, in the food. I mean, they've developed pretty rapidly, and our physical bodies haven't evolved to be able to cope with all of that. Those toxicities. It's not, just hasn't had
So,
time.
so do you think this is auto destruction that we're as humans creating, or do you think this is part of our way to evolve and the challenges for the body to evolve to be able to be with it all?
Well, yes and no. I mean, we're kind of from my perspective, we're at the pretty much at the edge of how we can evolve inside of this, and our bodies as well as our conscious awareness that we're awake to. Both of those require us to um, begin to turn toward and align with uh, something new, which is now what I'm involved in mostly, but that it's much closer to um, what I would say the things that I first experienced when I started doing healing work. And I didn't know it was happening. I wasn't like intentionally, doing something to manipulate the energy of the other person to bring about healing. It wasn't like that. There was a purity and a closeness, which with what I would call source and
So
pure
it's kind
love.
of an innocence. It's kind of like innocence,
Yeah,
in Christianity, what did they say? The ones that become like children will
yeah.
walk in the
Inherit the
doors of
kingdom of
heaven.
heaven. Yes, yes,
So it's sort of the innocence itself
yeah,
kind of brings you to the
yeah,
flow of life or to the
yeah,
coherence of life.
yeah.
And then
And
the mind
certainly,
gets involved to grow consciousness.
yeah, absolutely. The mind is also involved, but in a different way. It doesn't become the thing that's leading us,
Okay,
which
so
for the rest
let's
of the
go
world it
there.
is.
So that's a touchy subject because it's touchy because there's, I believe, a lot of confusion between religion and just aligning with more of ourself for a higher
Sure.
something, universe, the totality, right? So I mentioned this, so there's no confusion. So we're talking
Yeah.
from the perspective of humanness and human beings, and I believe most of us are aware uh, that there's things that we can't explain, and that there is a power that happens, believe or not believe, when we connect or believe or have faith or just surrender or give, like, please help or please
Yeah.
align or please. So from your perspective, what do you think that is, or what is it for you?
Well, for me, I would say that it is about aligning, and it's aligning with, for me, it's source, it's pure love, and it's for me, it's in and with others, in and with, I'm experiencing the connectedness of life as I'm doing that. So I'm not doing it by myself or for myself.
Okay, talk more about that, because just hearing that feels good. I mean, just
Mm,
feeling that feels good, because not only because align with what, but it feels good because it brings you to a place of peace and a place of not being alone for me.
yeah.
And so tell me more about that. There's, because you said alignment, which I'm already aligning with. What do I need to be straight, or and then
Well,
involves more than you. So
yeah. So alignment has to do that which with your um, wholly committed to, WHOL. It could be wholly also, but that which you're completely wholly committed to, because that which you're wholly committed to, there's a sense of wholeness, integrity, alignment. You're just, I mean, and for some people, and I say for me, that's with what I would say source, for which for me is the flow of pure love. Because you can be wholly aligned, all of yourself, completely wholly aligned with being a dictator. And so there is something about the wholeness of your being and what you want to and are aligning with, feeling yourself in wholeness with. So I feel myself in wholeness. For me, it's feeling myself in wholeness with pure love. In for me, that has inside of that the truth of that I am connected with
to pure
you,
love.
pure love through, and it's through all my connections, my connectedness with all that is.
So aligning will be uh, desiring word, mind, emotion. You are saying yes to pure love, and
Yes,
pure love to everything. Um,
yes.
um, and so, do you ever fear or need to protect, because I know there's many where, oh, I'm loving and I'm in pure love, and then an aggression comes towards you, or somebody screams
Well,
at
it
you, or
gives you, yeah, it gives you, I'm not afraid of that at all, actually. Um, I get afraid of other things about myself, but like, do I have the right? Does my hair look okay? Or just little things like that, the ego. But in terms of having, in, in terms of having that,
hair.
no, because, yeah, hair, because the truth is, when you're inside of that kind of knowing and the truth of the connectedness and that pure love, which to me is an absolute field of living unity, it's really easy to discern what would not be helpful, what would be destructive for me or for the earth or for somebody else. So it's like you don't even really have to choose because the knowing is so evident inside of that reality.
I love it. You brought up free will, right? Discernment. You're the one choosing per se. And I guess if you're aligned, something inside, in intuition or awareness, something really guides you or tells you yes or no. Maybe if you're lucky.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you can see more possibility.
So, what are you doing now? I'm looking at the clock because I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
there's so much information, but I do want to know
Oh, we'll
what
have
you're
to
doing
do this.
today.
Yeah, we'll have to do this again. So now what I'm doing is I'm very much inside of working with a group called the Evolutionary Collective and Patricia Albert, which is about this territory I'm talking about, helping people to be able to have access to and be able to enter into the reality of shared unity and begin to deepen that. Because in order, from my perspective, in order for humanity to go beyond where it is now and get out of our so much of our thought driven self-absorbed lives, that it's going to require us to open up to this availability of pure love, of shared unity. And there is a way to enter into that. So that's what I'm doing now, is I'm helping to bring people inside of that, to teach about it, to work with people there. Because it's an endless thing, because it's emergent. It's about unity. It's not about strategies. So I have this sense that the more people have access to this realm, the more evolution and pure love has bodies, because it is going to require the physical body shift as well, has the bodies, our emotional bodies, our mental bodies, and our physical bodies to create differently, to create through this pure love.
And what you spoke about, the commitment, right? The full commitment of being aligned with pure love or connected with pure love, including everybody and everything. Yeah. So it's kind of a teaching or an awareness. It's kind of a knowledge, a doorway. Knowledge is power. For you to drive towards it. Because if you don't know it exists,
exactly.
you exactly.
Yeah,
you don't find others that are doing that. So are you working with one-on-ones, or are you just do you want me to play something where people can find out more, or how they can find you, or you don't want to be found at this moment? Because I know you're very, very booked.
I'm happy to be,
never have
yes, I'm happy to be found. I'm really interested in working with people who want to shift into this next realm of shared unity. Very interested in working with anybody that's interested in that. And yeah, you can share, or I can share with you. I have an email for now for the Evolutionary Collective. It's just Sherry, SHERRY, at evolutionarycollective.com.
Okay, and I'll put it down below for if people want to email you.
That would be fun.
And we can do another meeting where you talk all about
that'd be great
about that, which is what you're in it today.
That would be great.
Okay.
And I love talking about all of it together and the wholeness of us. I mean, because for me, that's the most beautiful part. I'm so grateful that I had this journey that brought me from that physical world very intensely in that physical world, through all the different aspects with craniosacral and then homeopathy, and it became subtler and subtler forms of healing, and then into this and the training I've had in psychology as well, and then into this new place that I am, because what I see now, that is this evolutionary wave that we're on, really, really, really does want the fullness of us. Like I said, our physicality is going to change because of it. It's not separate. Our emotional bodies are their biochemicals. Our capacity to have causeless joy. We just feel joyful for no reason, not because somebody did something nice or we did something. There's just no cause. So the whole world of learning through experience of the body it's going to change. And we can learn through an access of direct knowledge and awareness. which is
Yes,
pretty
I
amazing.
think what you're doing is amazing because I experienced for myself the difference that there is when the surroundings are of pure love and there's more than one in that same alignment, then it doesn't matter who walks in and what they walk in with is contagious. And immediately I've experienced how my aches and pains disappear. My way of
Yeah,
seeing life seems less heavy. So at least for in my case, I know there's a huge difference, and that difference I do feel when I'm with you, Cherry, because I've been in many different things, and I think it doesn't make justice in this hour that we were together of the wealth of knowledge that is here, because it seems easy, right? We went from here to the
yeah.
physical to pure love, there's so many layers and there's so
Hmm.
many different things that happen on day to day or in all the type of illnesses. I know you've been involved with a lot of
Yeah,
helping cancer patients, and I mean there's infinite. So I just want the viewers to know that this is like
yeah,
a tip of Cherry Pay. I mean, it's like
yeah. Thank you so much. And who knows, maybe one time we can focus more on a particular aspect that people deal with in their lives. In terms
absolutely.
of,
I mean, I think that would
yeah,
be amazing if we can set that up. And it was a pleasure. I'm beyond grateful because I know you're booked. I know you're full of busy, and everybody wants a
thank
piece of
you.
Sherry. And here we had a piece of Sherry, and hopefully there will be people
Mm,
finding and watching your
mm,
wisdom and your um, finally your experience, because this is true experience in this
yeah,
lifetime at this moment. So thank you so much. And
thank you, Claudia. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
okay,
All
so yeah,
right.
we'll be in contact, and
Okay, till next time.
thank
Bye.
you. Bye. Whew. That was exciting. I don't know if it will transfer to you like it transfers to me. It's just a great feeling to be with a wise woman, experienced woman, and a professional woman in this field of humanness, wholeness, that involves all of us. Of course, we could have talked of behaviors or anxiety and depression or joy or purpose, how to create something, or how to just live on a day to day. There's so many topics that she has so much wisdom of. And you saw, I mean, her, what do you call biblical, not biblical, her amount of knowledge of all the books, techniques, is is on the last 50 years. She's been on it. So there's my dog barking, of course. He had to be 50. You see, even that, the dog did not bark through our conversation. I mean, that is alignment. I'm telling you, things happen when I'm with her. So, anyhow, I hope this was useful to you and that you're interested. And we'll see. We'll see if I can connect more. And I have other guests that could be very um, um, useful for our life to get to know and learn from them. So, yeah, tell me what you think of this context. See you next time, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so, and ring the bell on the right hand corner if you want to know when I upload new videos, and tell me what you think of this series, Claro Beauty Inside and Out. Bye.